So doing the right thing in the moment can be very hard, but it's very rare that later you regret that decision. And usually, Allah shows you the barakah. It just takes some time for that to come. So this was an Islamic decision. If I was not Muslim, I do not think I would have made that decision. This was an Islamic, it came directly from the deen, it came from our Prophet ﷺ, it came from the Quran. This is a concept that does not necessarily exist in other traditions in the same way that we're rooted in. And so I think it's important to call that out, that these things actually, when they impact your life, they can actually make, if you're following it, it can make really big differences in your life. And so you end up choosing businesses, long-term sustainable. You can make money on businesses that do harm in the short term, but in the long run, they don't actually work out. And the businesses that do really well, except like military and things like that, but in general, the businesses that do really well create a lot of value for a lot of human beings. And you go and if you create a lot of value for a lot of human beings, then the money will follow, because value is worth money. So that's how it's useful to think about things, as opposed to saying, I'm going to make money, separating those out. In Islam, we don't separate them. It's all part of the same thing. It's all part of our deen.
It's beautiful to know that Islam can really help push your business further. In America today, it's exactly what's happening. The young generation, they only want to buy products if the company is doing good, if the company is giving back. So that has become crucial here in America, that a positive mission if you want to have success in this country. It's amazing that they figured it out in this country. You have to be doing good. You have to be creating value. That's why a lot of restaurants fail.
Minder, I was talking to several sisters. This woman has like the best, most eligible women for marriage of any woman. We have the most beautiful woman, the smartest woman, the most educated woman, period. And these sisters were talking to me and they said they cannot find someone to get married to. And I said, how can that be? Like, you guys are the most, so eligible, so ready to get married. How is this possible? And I realized that this is a problem in America or in these communities, because once you get out of college, you're just not meeting many Muslims. Like at your work, other than maybe your masjid, but you already kind of know all those people. Someone has to introduce you or something. It's very hard to meet people. And so as I thought about it, it's really a density problem where everybody's spread out. Like if we were all in one city, then we could meet each other, but everybody's spread out all over the country. So the idea was we would create this app where people could push themselves up on the app. They could meet, people from anywhere in the country who are also Muslim, and you could see kind of things for compatibility. Maybe if you're Sunni, you want to marry Sunni, or Shia, you want to marry Shia, or you don't care, or you call yourself Sushi, or maybe you pray, you're very religious and you pray all of your prayers, or you're spiritual but you're not there yet. And so we put those parameters so you could see who is this person from an Islamic perspective. And mashallah, we had millions of people signed up to it, tens of thousands of people got married on it. It's still there now. It's called Salams, and it's it's been it's something that's inshallah service to the community.
I'm just so impressed. I'm so honored to be sitting next to this guy. The amount of good he's done in the community, the businesses he started. Please, let's just give him one more round of applause. Now let's talk about your biggest business, the one that made you truly American. Once you sell a company for $1 billion, you're as American as it gets. You feel like you fit in, you don't take crap from anybody, and you feel as American Muslim as you want to be. So you are a big inspiration for our community. What you've done here in DC, Maryland, Virginia area, you've inspired me. So just kudos and thank you for all of that. My wife, I've got a couple startups, but she doesn't give me any respect. She said, how come you didn't come up with Truebill? You know how much money we save with Truebill? And I get no respect at home. I should have come up with Truebill, but you did. Tell us what Truebill does and how it saves money and how it really changed the game on. And it's an Islamic service. In Islam, we're taught not to be wasteful. We're taught not to overspend and only, spend in the way of God. In this country, they sell you a subscription on everything. But when you're not checking Netflix, Hulu, Apple, News, they're all charging me $20, $30. That's me being wasteful. Tell us more about Truebill, and which is now rocket money. Congrats.
So, first of all, even after you sell a company for $1 billion, you get no respect at home. So you can I, mashallah, have, a wife and 3 wonderful daughters. But no matter what I do, I will always just be a normal person walking around the house. So you have no hope there. You have no hope. And I'll get compared to just like the most random person who does something. So it's Truebill. All of these projects, if you think about it, I have done many different projects. They all just come out of a problem that I don't like. So like I was saying with Minder, like these sisters came up and said it's hard to get married, and I said I don't like that. Like I don't want the world to be like that. In this case, I had these subscriptions I had signed up for everywhere, and I couldn't keep track of them, and I had nowhere. I was like, why can't I just log in somewhere and just see a list of all my subscriptions that I'm paying for? This is a problem I don't like. And so we didn't have any business plan, we didn't have any big idea, we just said like, we're gonna go and solve this problem. So my brothers and I were in a basement, and we just built some small tool that showed us our subscriptions. We were all paying for stuff that we didn't want to be paying for, that we had forgotten about. So then we launched this as a product, and there was a lot of other people who had the same problem as us, and that's how this business came about. And we just kind of went step by step. I think people who look at it now and they say, oh wow, Haroon, mashallah, he did this thing, but like, I don't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do anything either when I started. I started when I was a kid, and I didn't know what I was doing. I made a lot of mistakes. But I always was interested in solving these problems, and I think it's better to build businesses with that in mind and with a mission. We are trying to save people money, help them be more financially healthy, as opposed to just trying to make money with it. So alhamdulillah, we built that over a series of 4 or 5 years, and then we sold it to the company called Rocket Mortgage. And now I actually have to think about this, because now we're owned by a mortgage company. They also do loans and credit cards, and this now bumps up against some of my Islamic principles in terms of riba and things like that. And so, it's not something long-term for me. I'm trying to get the company, Truebill doesn't deal in that stuff, but trying to get the company to a place where, it can go on without me and things like that, but that's where we are.
Amazing. He sold the business for $1 billion. He still feels guilty. It's amazing what kind of person he is. MashaAllah, how humble he is. I think some of those people that were asking you when you came up with Minder, they said that they're having trouble getting married. Can you help them? Do you think some of those women wanted you to marry them?
No, I was already married at the time. No, definitely not.
I'm just joking.
No, I got married, yeah.
Haroon, you've done so much stuff. You bring a different perspective. You've got the Muslim theme going that ties it together. You're talking about problem solving. Is that what's tying you to all these businesses? What makes you start another one? And then now that you've sold Truebill, what's next? I know you're doing a lot.
Yeah, I think doing a business is a lot of work, as many of you guys in the room know. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of mind share and effort. And it takes if you're gonna build a company, let's say to sell it, it's like 10 years minimum for the full thing. And sometimes it can be much more than that. So if in our working lives, we only have maybe 5 decades, something like that, you only get 5 of those. Maybe you can do 2 at a time sometimes, but that's not a lot. And so as I'm thinking about how can I broaden the impact, how can I have more impact, I'm probably not gonna start another company myself. I think what is interesting to me now is there are very talented people who have a dream and who have a mission and who have an idea. And I really like that idea, and I think it needs to exist, and I like the problem they're working on. And so I've gotten involved in helping other people stand up new things that I think should exist in the world, and really get that going. So for example, all of our hearts are broken with Gaza. And by the way, you talk about $1 billion and all this money and stuff like that. What is this money when your Muslims are having this problem? Wallahi, if you told me right now you could take every penny I have, but you could free Philistine, I would give it to you. I would give it to you. And I know a lot of people in this room would do the same thing. Because what is the point of how can I enjoy this? How can I just enjoy money when my brothers are starving over there? We tried, I'm just gonna tell this story because of how difficult this is. There's an organization that I've donated to, supported, called Müsiad. They make these malnutrition packs. Because when someone is actually in a starvation mode, you can't give them bread. That doesn't work anymore. They can't eat, we probably have doctors in the room. They can't just eat and process bread and food. That doesn't work like that. So you have to give them these packs that have many different vitamins. It's almost like a peanut butter type of thing that has everything they need, and they eat that for a whole month until they can get better, and then they can eat normal food. So I called them, I said, we gotta get this into Gaza. There's people who are in starvation. And she said, okay. So we filled up a huge pallet, and somebody donated a flight. So they put it on a plane, took it to Jordan. And then we kept trying to get this thing into Gaza, and Israel's saying, we're not blocking aid, we don't block any aid, we don't block any aid. Okay, well, so it it goes, and then the convoy gets sent back, and they said, like, whatever, they found some scissors in some truck or something silly like this, where they find every reason to reject these trucks. So rejected, come back, go to a different entrance, finally gets to the entrance to go in, and the settlers attack the convoy. What is it in a human being that leads you to block a starvation package that is going towards children in hospitals somewhere? I don't care what you think about the people or when you got attacked, but how much have you? This is like shayateen at that point. This is like Shaitan has taken over the hearts of many people on this planet to do something like that. And so our aid still hasn't gotten in. Our truck is there, then it went to Rafah, then they closed the Rafah border. Inshallah, maybe we can get these Bayrak towers that have been built and we can fly them over and drop this aid, you know? Inshallah, Turkey's going to be, able to send flotillas. I don't know, but, it is hard. And so as I'm looking at Gaza and thinking about how is it that this happens in the world, and I always thought, well, it's politicians. And politicians, there's donors and they donate, and all of this happens, and they have the power and they have the votes and they do this thing. And then I realized, no, that's not it. That's one piece of it. The second piece is the media is providing all of the cover for this to happen. They're writing all the stories, dehumanizing the Palestinians, constantly dehumanizing Muslims and Palestinians and Gazans, they're doubting our figures, saying these numbers aren't real, these babies aren't real, these deaths aren't real. When we're watching their mothers crying over them, he said, how can this be? And so I said, media is a major problem. Then what happened? We have people in media. We have Mehdi Hassan. The second October 7th happened, they pulled him off the air. But he hadn't said a word yet. They pulled him off the air. Finally, they bring him back. He has one interview, I think it was Mark Regev. He just asked the guy, he said, but you're killing babies, right? And Mark Regev says, no, we're not killing, we don't know who killed those babies. That was his last show. Then they canceled his show just for asking that question. Somebody got a phone call. So this became, I was like, this is a core problem that needs to be solved. Mehdi is a friend of mine. He called me. He said, hey, they've canceled my show. They haven't fired me or anything, but I'm thinking about doing something. And I said, we have to do this. So there's a new network launched, media company called Zeteo, Zeteo.com, that Mehdi is now running. I helped him put the money together. I'm on his board. He's doing all of the work. But this is the thing, is that now, inshallah, I can be in a position to help these things kind of come out into the world that maybe it would have been hard for him to do by himself. And I can use the experience I've learned to help him build a business around it, make it sustainable, but not just do one thing. I can hopefully help many of these things come into fruition.
I'm going to ask one or two more questions, and then we'll open it up to the crowd, so you guys can start thinking about a couple questions that you'd like to ask Brother Haroon. You told us about some of the stuff that you're doing. You talked about Zeteo, being in media now. How important is that for American Muslims? I also heard about you're doing some collecting of Islamic knowledge using AI. Can you talk about that project?
Yeah, this is another one. Again, it all starts with a problem. Intisar is a friend of mine, Safir's sister. MashaAllah, she's at Harvard Law School. She's a professor there, very good scholar. And we began having conversations. She said, look, we need to start collecting the Islamic legal texts. There is no corpus of this. And if you think about it, what Uthman did back in the time after Prophet ﷺ, he sort of collected all of the different Qur'ans and everything and said, we need to put this together in a place so people have access to this Qur'an. And so, we think that there is a need for something similar today. And so what we want to do is collect all of the Islamic sources from everywhere and put them all in one artificial intelligence that makes it available for the Muslims to access. So that project is called Usul.ai. A very early version is live, but as we get it going, we're going to need support and libraries all over the world to help us kind of scan all of this stuff and bring it all into one place.
So last question, and then we'll open it up. I know that University of Maryland, the incubator, the WeWork, how they get startups out of University of Maryland, is named after you. And I heard that you're supporting that, mentored, you've invested in companies there. Those companies have gone on to raise millions and millions of dollars. So you're paying it forward again through business, helping others. If you want to share anything about that, and I'd love for you to just share real quick, what are some startup advice that you have for the group here? Obviously, we're all inspired by you. Is there any tips that we could walk away with on how do we start our company or grow a company? Is there any lessons that you want us to hold on to?
The Hatchery is a small program we do at the Computer Science Building at the University of Maryland, where we give a few teams every year. They kind of join, they apply, they join, we help them get off the ground. It's just a fun way to give back. Our whole family went to the University of Maryland, and I think, it's good to help the people that supported you. We started our first business there, stuff like that. I mean, this is such a diverse crowd, it's very hard to give one piece of advice that would apply to everybody very well. And it depends on the stage of business you're in. I think that maybe what I would say is that at every stage of a business, you feel like you don't know what you're doing. Like anytime you're trying to go to the next stage, you don't have experience there. So by definition, you've never done that. And so it's very easy to be intimidated, or I don't know how to do that, or I'm not going to be able to do that. And you just need to remember that every single person who ever built a business went through that same thing. And they were no better than you, right? We're all the same. We're all just like human beings learning this stuff and doing it. So there's no magic thing. There's no successful thing. It's just like, have a good intention. Look, we say it in Surah Asr. It's like literally the formula for life. It's like, you're in loss, accept. And then you say, accept what? And it's like, it's iman wa amal saleh, right? You like have your integrity and beliefs, and those produce good actions. And then watawasaw bihaq, watawasaw bis-sabr, those two things. Haq is, you go after truth, and then sabr is you keep going. And so, same thing I think in business. You basically are dedicated to a mission, and then you just don't stop. You just continue to work on it and find a way to make that work.
Appreciate that advice. Can't be better than Islamic advice. Let's turn into questions. I'm going to bring the mic over. Let's start in the front row here, and we'll work our way back. Omar will bring the mic to you. While we're finding our first question, let me put you on the spot. The Müsiad had us here. We're very honored to be here. Their organization's incredible. What they're doing for the business community. Honored to partner with them and be here. What ideas do you have for Turkey? What business ideas can you inspire the Turkey generation to work on? In the US, we have drones, we have crypto, we have self-driving cars, we have AI, we have all the best technology here in the US. All the innovations are happening here. What can we take over there? What can we bring back and forth between our two great nations? Turkey is one of the favorite countries of all Americans. Palestine is now up there. It's been a shift now, what's happening in the country. Everyone wants to learn about Islam. Everyone's shifting and backing the Palestinians. It's an amazing time for us Muslims here in America. It's really a good time for us now to work together. So again, we're honored to be here. But yeah, I just want to throw out, do you have any international business ideas?
Well, I think, mashallah, the Turks don't need my advice. I think maybe one thing I could offer is just, I do believe that AI is coming, and it's coming very quickly. And so you have to, if you're thinking about, when you're on a country scale, you're not thinking about 1 year or 2 year investments. You're thinking about 10-year, 20-year, 50-year investments even. And the problem is, 50 years ago, you could kind of guess what life would look like. I think right now, it's very hard to think about, even for me who's a technologist, to think about what life will look like in 10, 20 years, 30 years. I really can't imagine, so it's very difficult. But if I were a nation and I were trying to invest, I would be investing in, like, for example, if you're talking about manufacturing, I'd be investing in automation, because this is happening. Robots are going to be here, they're going to be replacing stuff. And so I would be really thinking about how are you using AI and how are you using automation to do these things, because otherwise anyone who's not doing this can be left behind.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank my dear Müsiad Vice President. He is sitting next to me, Berker Hazard. Let's give a hand for Berker Hazard. He invited all these talented young entrepreneurs, especially practicing Muslim, as I love you more, Haroon, okay? And here is my question. My name is Kemal Bozkurt. I am from Rize, Pakistan, okay? My first question is for you. Instead of selling your company, have you ever think about to buy? Number one. Second is, are you regret selling any of your companies? Third is, I seen Minder in RIS convention in Toronto, and I said, this is Turkish. There were too many girls over there. I said, oh, this is a Turkish company. Is it Turkish? Now I understand why it's Turkish. And actually, this was a question, just a comment for you. My last question is, do you like soccer? If you like, I hope your team is trouble.
I'll start at the end. I actually don't watch a lot of soccer, unfortunately. So I'm sure that's a lovely team. The only sport I watch is football. So we both call football maybe, but the Minder, you could tell people, was started by a Turk. So you could say that it's a Turkish company. This was a lot of questions, so it's hard. If you can remind me, what was the second one about? Oh, do I regret I've sold a lot of companies. Do I ever regret it? And I've ever thought about buying companies. So no, I've never regretted selling a company. And alhamdulillah, we sold the companies both at very good times. After we sold Truebill, the market crashed, right? We sold it end of 2001. The market crashed right after that. So you never know what's going to happen. And I think the time to, for me, I ask myself, is this my life's work or is it not my life's work? And when I decide it's not my life's work, then I said, okay, then the goal is to sell the company. Buying companies, I don't think I would really ever buy a company because I don't want to run something that's somebody else's thing. I'd rather find someone really great to run and do that. And I only want to run something if I feel like I'm the one that has to do it and I'm necessary for it. Yeah. I invest in a lot of companies.
First of all, thank you all to Müsiad and to Oasis for putting on this event. Haroon, thank you so much for your insight and coming and joining us. My name is Müsiad. I'm a local EMVer, grew up in Northern Virginia. Recently just finished my MBA in Wharton and work on starting my own Islamic fintech. Alhamdulillah, it's been a very tough experience, I will say, but also very blessed in that I faced a lot of hardship in terms of getting really acceptance from the traditional investors and just traditional operators. Because it's financial services, as you might imagine in your own experience, really dependent on a lot of other service providers to be able to do your own thing. So really just in your case, I wanted to hear, and I didn't hear too much of it in your talk so far, just how was it, trying to operate as a Muslim in this space, really to be able to get adoption and really to get support from those other financial service providers. And really, I want you to keep my own story and your perspective, like how as an Islamic fintech founder can I be able to convince others really to take on my own business and support my ambitions.
Yeah, I mean, mashallah, there's now some Islamic or Muslim VCs that are investing, like Transform.vc is one that invests specifically in Muslim companies, so I would encourage you to reach out to them. We never pitched anything as there's nothing Islamic about Truebill per se. It's not like an Islamic finance company. The reason you might bump into things is not because someone doesn't like Islam and they don't invest. They're just thinking about the market size. And so I would just figure out a way to position it as this is a very big market and this is why this is a big opportunity. And not every company needs to be a venture company. I mean, there's many good companies that shouldn't be venture-backed companies. Before we finish, I just want to make sure we leave room for any sisters who have questions because we didn't get any sisters. We haven't. No, you don't have to, but I just want to make sure we create the space. Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's fine. If there's anyone can. Yeah, it's anyone, it's fine. If someone doesn't want to, it's fine.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Aman Jamil, and just a quick question. With every business, there's some amount of risk taken. Can you elaborate a little bit more on one of the biggest risks that you've taken up to this point, whether it's...
Yeah, actually, most of my things were very, very low risk. So I went to law school while I was building my first company, and I graduated law school. So if my company failed, I would just go back and become a lawyer, right? And then I had sold my company, so if my second company had failed, it was fine. I already had sold a company. So, I think there's a way to be an entrepreneur that's actually not that risky. I don't think it requires a lot of decisions about we need to bet the company here, bet the company there. But some of the best decisions we ever made were because we were about to die. And so you could say we took a risk there. So with Webs, we were about to die and I had to let go of all of the executive staff and just cut back the company smaller. That was a major risk. It ended up saving the company. With Truebill, we were about to die. And so we changed the business model to be based on people paying us a subscription, which is very strange because we were a company that helped people cancel their subscriptions. But we had to do that because we were going to die. And that ended up saving the company and that became our main revenue model. So the only risks I ever took were when I absolutely had to take it. Otherwise, we didn't do it.
Big round of applause for Haroon. Haroon, thank you for inspiring us, all the great work you've done. Thank you for being such a great success story for the community. We hope to be able to see you more here at the DNet Center. So thank you again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Just one second. So President Müsiad was so deeply moved by your speech that he wanted to say something back. That's okay?
Please, yes.
If you want to have.
Yes.
We're going to give you some headphones. Where are the headphones? It's going to be in Turkish.
Selamünaleyküm. Değerli hanımefendiler ve efendiler, Çok değerli konuşmacılar, biz de büyük bilgiyle değerli Haroon Bey kardeşimizin sunumunu dinledik. Gerçekten hepimize ilham veren çok başarılı bir hayat süreci var. Tabii şunu söylemek istiyorum. Bizler de Müsiad camiası olarak tam 34 yıldır ilk kurulduğumuz andan itibaren ana felsefemiz yüksek ahlak dedik. İkinci felsefemiz yüksek teknoloji dedik. Dolayısıyla öncelikle yaptığımız bütün faaliyetlerden de yüksek ahlak var. Bu manada bizler Müslüman iş adamları olarak mutlaka evet ticaret yapacağız, para kazanacağız ama bütün bunları yaparken de helal ve haram kavramına dikkat edeceğiz. Alın terine önem vereceğiz. Dürüstlüğe çok önem vereceğiz. Zira inandığımız Hz. Peygamber Efendimiz Aleyhisselatü Vesselam dürüst ve güvenilir tüccar şehitlerle, sıddıklarla ve peygamberlerle beraber. Dolayısıyla biz mutlaka dürüst olacağız, güvenilir olacağız. Bütün bunların yanında çok değerli Haroon Bey kardeşimizin bir ifadesi dikkatimi çekti. Dedi ki burada birçok iş bağlantıları içkili sohbetlerde, içkili mekanlarda olur dedi. Ben kendi hayatımdan bir örnek vereyim. Ben de şu anda ortak olduğum 26-27 senedir mühendis arkadaşımla beraber ortaklığın ilk adımını 87 yılında üniversitede öğrenciyken bir baraj şantiyesindeki mescitte attım. Dolayısıyla Müslümanların da iş bağlantılarını yapacağı, beraber bir araya geleceği yegane mekan mescitler ve camiler olması lazım. Bizim de buluşma noktamız camiler olması lazım. Camileri ihya etmemiz lazım. Ben bu açıdan bunu söyledim. Bir de yine Haroon Bey kardeşimizin hayatını dinlediğimiz zaman bir işi bitirince hemen başka bir işe koyulduğunu öğrendik. Aslında bu bizim için ilahi bir düsturdur. İnşirah suresinde Cenab-ı Hak bir işi bitirdiğin zaman hemen yeni bir işe koyuyor. Dolayısıyla bizler bunu kendimize de yar etmemiz lazım. Yine ilahi bir düstur, yine Efendimiz'den bize yine bir öğreti. 2 gün eşit geçen ziyandadır. Dolayısıyla biz Müslümanların asla boş durmaması lazım. Bir saniye bile geçirecek bir zaman olmaması lazım. Dolayısıyla bizler çok çalışmalıyız. Ümmeti Muhammed eğer bugün bu kadar dağınık görüntü veriyor, bu kadar acı çekiyorsa ki etrafımıza bakalım, bütün İslam beldelerinde Müslüman kanı akıyor. Dünyada en ucuz kan Müslüman kanı maalesef. Dolayısıyla Müslümanlar teknolojide, bilimde, sanatta geri kaldığı için bu zulümleri görüyorlar. Dolayısıyla Allah'a hamdolsun bu özellikle yeni nesillerde bu kırılmış durumda ama yine alacağımız, yapacağımız çok iş var. Bizler Müsiad camiası olarak hep üye iş adamlarımıza şunu söylüyoruz. Biz evet iş adamları ve sanayici derneğiz. Sanayici ve iş adamları derneğiz. Dolayısıyla birinci işimiz ticaret, ekonomi ama bütün bunları yaparken asla ve asla bir fani olduğumuzu, ölümlü bir hayatta olduğumuzu ve ölünce de mutlaka iyi ve kötü amellerimizin de hesaba çekileceğimizi asla unutmayız. Yani bizim için bir ahiret inancı var. Dolayısıyla adeta 2 kanatlı bir kuş gibi bir kanadımız dünya için, ticaret için, para kazanmak için çarparken öbür kanadımızın da mutlaka hayır hasanat için, insanlara faydalı olmak için, maneviyatımız için, Allah'a iyi bir kul olmak için ne gerekiyorsa aynı anda ikisini yapmamız lazım. Bu nedenle biz Müsiad olarak benim başkanlığım döneminde söyleyeyim. İdlib'de 600 evden oluşan Suriye'nin İdlib bölgesinde bir yaşam kenti inşa ettik. Orada şu anda 5000 tane dul ve yetimler yaşıyor. Bunun yanında Afganistan'daki sel felaketinde Kızılay'ımızla beraber bir iyilik treni gönderdik. Bunun yanında deprem bölgesine birçok arkadaşım, Türkiye'de malum 6 Şubat 2023'te bir deprem oldu. O depremde 2 ay aşkın bütün arkadaşlarımız deprem bölgesinde yardım faaliyetlerinde bulundular. Ve en sonunda Gazze'ye biz tam 150.000 koli, 4 milyon yemek içinde olan 150.000 koli gönderdik ve çok şükür biz refahtan içeriye sokmayı başardık. Oradaki insanlara verdik. Şunu diyorum, bizler bir taraftan iş yapacağız ama bu işimizi mutlaka ihtiyacı olan insanlara, fakir fukaraya dağıtmak zorundayız. Zaten bizim inancımızla kazandığımız paranın en az minimumu %2,5'unu zekat olarak dağıtmamızı emrediyor. Dolayısıyla kazandığımız para bize ait değildir %100'ü. Biz bu inançla hareket ediyoruz ve dolayısıyla çalıştığımız birçok şeyde de zekatımızı arttırmanın mücadelesini veriyoruz. Ben böyle başarılı iş adamların artmasını Yüce Rabbim'den niyaz ediyorum. Tekrar bu ilham verici konuşması için kendisine ve dinlediğiniz için de sizlere çok teşekkür ediyorum. Sağ olun.
Maybe I could just say one last thing, because it is true. Turkey has been doing amazing things. And if you think about this, Iran just lost its president. And yes, I was going to say thank you very much for your words. And I was saying that Turkey has been doing some very amazing things for the world, including on the technology side. When Iran lost its president and a helicopter, it was the Turkish drone that came to help find them, and it found it. And that's how they were able to find the crash site. And one of the things I hope is that we should all try to do what we can to help, but the Ummah will never succeed unless there's cooperation between the Muslim countries. And one of the things we have to do is put aside whatever differences are happening. All of this stuff has come from outside, making us fight with each other, drawing all kinds of lines. What lines? It was all Ottoman. It was one big happy place, right? That exist here. This is no lines. This is built by someone else. This isn't the future. There's going to be a future. These lines aren't going to be there. I believe that. But so we have to erase these differences between us. All of this stuff, they try to say, you're Sunni, you're Shia, you're this, you're that. This is nonsense. We had none of these problems. Hundreds of years we were leading in math, in science, in all of this stuff. There was none of this infighting and stuff. So we have to get back to that. We have to understand that the rest of the world is not trying to help the situation. Many people are trying to continue to have the Muslims fighting each other so that they can control this region. And inshallah, this type of cooperation and the advancement of everything that you're saying is the things that will bring us back together, inshallah.